नमस्ते गुरुजी।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते
नमस्कार
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
नमस्ते
नमस्ते गुरुजी।
नमस्ते। ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सुप्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। भेदा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे कृष्णद्वैपायनं व्यासं सर्वलोकहिते रतं वेदाब्ज भास्करं वन्दे समाधिनिलयं मुनिं सहस्रमूर्ते पुरुषोत्तमस्य सहस्रनेत्राननपादबाहोः सहस्रनाम्नां स्तवनं प्रशस्तं निरुच्यते जन्मजरादिशान्त्यै। Namaste once again, all of you.
नमस्कारं मामा।
Namaste Guruji.
Namaste. So we are seeing the last few slokas of the Purva Bhaga. And which was the sloka we were seeing the meanings in the last class was let me see. Tasya loka pradhanasya jagannadasya bhupate Vishnur nama sahasram me srunu papa bhayapaham. So Bhishmacharya is telling Yudhishthira. Now listen to me, my dear Yudhishthira, carefully. Now I will tell you the 1,000 names of that Mahavishnu, that Paramatma. And for what? Papa Bhayapaham. Bhayapaham. Okay. So in that, I think we saw the meanings till Nirlepa. Yeah, Nirlepa was the last word we saw. So the next word is Bhupatehe. And Bhupatehe, as I told you in the beginning, is a Sambodhana. He is addressing Yudhishthira as Bhupatehe. Hey Bhupate. O leader of this entire world. Bhu means this whole world. Bhumi. And Adi Shankara translates this as Mahipala. Mahi means again the earth. Another name for earth is Mahi. Pala means the person who protects, who takes care of. Basically, what we can say, an emperor or a king, who is the protector of this entire earth. So he is addressing Yudhishthira because he has already been crowned as the Chakravarti. He has won the war, not at crowned, won the war. But he is going to be crowned. So he is already recognizing that you are now going to be the Chakravarti of this entire earth, kingdom. So after Bhupate, Vishnu ho, Adi Shankara says, Vyapana Sheelaha. This meaning we have seen n number of times, right? All pervading. The one who is all pervading, that Sakshi Chaitanyam, that Chit, that consciousness, Vishnu. Nama Sahasraham. So Nama Sahasram means 1,000 names. Sahasram means 1,000. Nama is name. 1,000 names. Papa Bhaya Paham. So these 1,000 names of Vishnu, they are Papa Bhaya Apaham. So they Apaham basically means to remove, that which removes. What it removes? Papam and Bhayam. Both these things. Because all our karmas, whatever we do in this world, there are two things we are always worried about. One is fear. And it is because of the fear that we do so many things. We look for security in our life only because of the fear, that the insecurity that we feel. We take ourselves to be totally insecure and we look for security. And that is what the Artha Purushartha is all about. So that Bhayam is always there. First, the most important Bhayam is when you go to sleep, whether I will wake up tomorrow or not. Important Bhayam. Other than that, other Bhayams are there. Today I've got this. When I travel by the local train or local bus, whether anybody will pick my pocket, another Bhayam. Right? So many, you can go on counting the Bhayams. Our life is full of Bhayams only. So this Vishnu Sahasranamam, he says, I will tell you these 1,000 names which will remove this Bhayam from your life. When can you remove Bhayam? When you know, suppose outside your house there is a police post. I am talking about a good police post. Huh? These days police posts also can create fear rather. But let us say an ideal police post. There are a lot of policemen and all that. You don't need to appoint a security guard. Because the police post will itself be a very secure place. And they will ensure that all the surroundings are secure. So when you have a higher authority, in the presence of a higher authority, you will have no bhayam. When you take Ishvara as the highest authority and always recognize his presence all the time in our life, whatever we do in waking state, in dream state, in deep sleep state, if we recognize that Ishvara is there with me always, there won't be any bhayam at all. And these 1,000 names of Vishnu Sahasranama will help us in bringing that Ishvara more and more into our life. And that is why understanding the names becomes important. We'll talk about that later. And also the other bhayam for people who are in our culture, basically, papam. Because we know that papam, that is the unpleasant results of our action or our unpleasant results of our wrong action. Action which is not in conformity with our Vedic injunctions. Adharmic actions. And unfortunately, we don't even know today what actions are dharmic and what actions are adharmic. That discrimination also is by and large lost. So under those circumstances, a person who is actually thinking about all these things, punyam, papam and all that, he will also have a concern that I should not do anything which can attract papam. Some of the basic things that we know, satyam vada, if I say untruth, I will attract papam. If I do any adharmic activities, somebody is asking for water, thirsty fellow, and you refuse to give him water. Papam. Somebody is hungry, comes and begs for food. You refuse to give him food. Papam. So you can like that killing in the animals, killing any type of ahimsa is punyam. Any type of himsa is papa. It could be a physical himsa, an emotional himsa, or a mental himsa. All are papam generating actions. So these are the two things which we are always worried about. I should not earn any papam which will give me unpleasant experiences in future. So I should accrue more and more punyam. That's why people do so many pujas, days, that and all, all karmas, punya karmas, danam, all those things are punya karmas. So this papam and bhayam are two big things hanging like Damocles' sword on our head. This Vishnu Sahasranama, Acharya says, if you say this Vishnu Sahasranama, if you listen to it, it comes later. Adi Shankara beautifully explains all that I said, told you, He Shrunu only. But He Shrunu, it implies not only just listening, taking it in, absorbing each and every nama, its meaning, appreciating the glory of Ishvara through each and every nama. Later on, I will tell you, Pujya Swamiji says, each nama is a window to understand, to look at, to appreciate Ishvara. So that 1,000 names I am giving you, Sahasra Vishnu Nama Sahasram, Papa Bhaya Apaham. Okay. So Papam, Adi Shankara says, Ashubha Kritam Papam. Ashubha Karma Kritam. And Ashubha Karma Kritam, basically as I told you, those which are being prohibited in the Shastras, these are Ashubha Karmas. So Shastra Nishiddha Karmas. You can take it as Shastra Nishiddha Karmas. They will all convert into Papa. What we call Duradrishtam. Duradrishtam basically means all Papams. Okay. So we say that, that fellow suffered so much, it is his Duradrishtam. This is what colloquially we say. What does that mean is that fellow has suffered so much because of all the Papams he has earned in the past. That's what we mean. Okay. So even though here Adi Shankara only talks about Ashubha Karmas, but from a moksha point of view, from a Advaita Vedanta point of view, we can also include Punya Karmas. But we must understand it very carefully. Punya Karmas are required for two reasons. One is to neutralize the Papams. And the second reason is, if by chance we are unable to get that liberation, freedom in this birth, the Punya Karmas will, give us either a human birth or a more elevated birth in the next janma. Maybe you are born as a Devata and all that. Because Devatas are also divine, they are also Jivas only. All Devatas are Jivas only. So, Punya Karma also we must earn, but we must have, when we progress further, we must try to get rid of Punya Karmas also. So, no Papa Karmas, no Punya Karmas in the account means zero balance, no rebirth. So, we must understand that we can extend the meaning of this Adi Shankara's Bhashyam to include Punya Karmas from a point of view of moksha, from the point of view of liberation from rebirth, okay, and samsara, okay. So he says bhayam is samsara lakshana bhayam. We have seen the meaning of samsara earlier, isn't it? In detail we saw that, where Kim jaban muchyate jandur janma samsara bandhanat. This was the question of Yudhishthira. So there, Janma Samsara Bandhanat, I explained to you what is Janma Bandhanam and what is Samsara Bandhanam. We must bring all those teachings or all those things which were said into our mind rather, when we say Samsara. So here he says Samsara Lakshana Bhayam, the Bhayam, the fear, which is characterized in the form of this Samsara. What is samsara? All our pains and miseries and sorrows, unpleasant experiences, all are samsara. And we always have a fear for them. We don't want any of them in our life. We always want to be happy, except we don't know how to go about it. That is our tragedy. We know what we want, but we don't know the method to achieve it. Vedanta tells us that roadmap, how to go about it. Okay. And that's what, as I said, Puja Swamiji explained this very nicely. He said, what do these names do? What is these 1,000 names of Vishnu? What do they do? Basically, we have seen they destroy fear and papa. And fear and this papa arising from all our actions of omissions and commissions. Because everyone nurses some guilt in his life, guilt and shame. So these 1,000 names of Bhagavan takes away that guilt. And Puja Swamiji says fear basically is psychological. And various papas in one's account, they cause fear. So these 1,000 names will not only remove all the fears and neutralize all the punya papas, but they will also remove the fear of the samsara. Then there will be no more samsara. There won't be janma mrityu or janma samsara bandhanat muchyate. Samsara Lakshana Bhaya means the fear of entering into another body. I think somebody in this class or some class said, one of the students, that I always have that fear of taking rebirth. Right. What gives us dukkham is only this bhayam. And Bhagavan Krishna in the second chapter refers to this bhayam as mahataha bhayam. But that means what? Trayate mahato bhayat, he says. The greatest fear is this samsara. And there also, in Bhagavad Gita Bhashyam also, Adi Shankara says, mahata bhayat, he interprets as samsara bhayat janma maranadi lakshanat. The same idea he brings it here in Vishnu Sahasranamam Bhashyam. Samsara lakshana bhayam. So Vishnur Nama Sahasram is Papa Bhaya Apaham. If we chant these 1,000 names of Vishnu, all our papas will be neutralized. Later on, it will be said that Vasudeva Bhaktanam Ashubham Vidyate Kvachit. When in the Phalashruti, it will be said. Okay, we will see that at that time. So the Bhaktas of Vasudeva, Kvachit, never, at no time, Ashubham Vidyate. Anything Ashubham. What you can say, Ashubham is I'm not getting right word. Ashubham, Shubham opposite is Ashubham Navidyate. That is what.
Inauspicious.
Sorry? Inauspicious. Nothing inauspicious. Means what? I mean, he will get a good guru, he will get an opportunity to travel in the spiritual path. All these are all supposed to be auspicious. Getting a good guru is the most auspicious thing. Like everything in our life, to succeed, to reach the top, you require a coach, a guru, a mentor is required. No person, even let it be the president of the United States of America, or Tiger Woods, the golf champion. Everyone Sachin Tendulkar, coming to our own country, Sachin Tendulkar. Everybody has a guru. And they have full shraddha in that guru. They know that the guru has got no axe to grind whenever he is telling this guy to do so many things. So the most auspicious thing that can happen in one's life is to get a good guru in the pursuit of whatever you want to pursue in your life. And the most difficult thing to get a guru is for spirituality. There are many gurus who claim to be spiritual gurus, but they will not be able to guide you properly towards that moksha destination. Somewhere in between you can get lost. So to get a guru who is very well versed in the Vedanta, in the Veda Shastras, who himself is a liberated person. The guru himself is a liberated guru. He is a mukta guru, mukta purusha hai. To get such a guru is a, as they call, Sahasranamam. Sahasranamam means something which is impossible. Shasha means this hair, rabbit. Shringa means the horns. So in Sanskrit, or even in Vedanta, if you want to say something is impossible, we say Shasha Shringavat, like the horn on a rabbit's head. It is impossible. You cannot have a rabbit. You cannot imagine a rabbit with a horn, with horns. So to get such a guru who is Shrotriya and Brahmanishta both, very, very, very difficult. But you can still get a Shrotriya guru who is well versed in the Shastras, who has got the skill to unfold the message of the Shastras. That guru, even though he himself has not reached moksha, he will certainly be able to guide us towards the moksha. What are the things that we need to do for us to reach moksha? It is not necessary that every teacher becomes an IAS officer, isn't it? But IAS officers were students of some teachers who still continue to teach. So like that, one of the most auspicious things that can happen in our life is to get a good guru to lead us in our spiritual path. So that is what we say, that inauspiciousness, no inauspiciousness will happen. All things will happen auspiciously. So then, as I said, Tvam me shrunu, he says, me shrunu, please listen to me. Simple translation is, please listen to me. Because this Vishnu Sahasranamam, generally, what we have all been chanting and all that, we take it as some simple shloka. But that there is so much in this Vishnu Sahasranamam, we will understand only when we read bhashyams of Adi Shankara and all that. Otherwise, you can take a dictionary, Vishwam, Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro. Vishwam means the world. That's all. Adi Shankara explains the word Vishwam 4 pages of bhashya. But if you see a dictionary, Vishwam means the world. Vishnu, a Hindu god who is having Gada, Chakram and all that. That is not the explanation. We all think that that is what is Vishnu Sahasranamam is about. That's very, very sort of a very simple approach to Vishnu Sahasranamam. Really, all our Shastras, if you want to understand what those Shastras, what their import is, what their importance is in our life, they all are roadmaps for our entire life. And that's why Bhagavad Gita is said to be a manual for our good living, right living. Now, Bhagavad Gita is what? Nothing but, a sort of a filtered version of all the Upanishads and all that. Bhagavan Krishna, or rather Veda Vyasa, has brought in everything. Whatever his knowledge of Shastras are, Bhagavad Gita, you will find it somewhere or the other. That's why it says the manual of right living. So, if we understand the Shastras with their full meaning, then it is a totally different journey altogether. It is not a journey from date of birth to date of death. It is an eternal journey. It's a journey of a mukta towards moksha, towards total liberation. Okay. So Adi Shankara says, when he says, listen to me, he says, listen to me with a concentrated mind, with a focused mind. When you are listening to me, this is what Adi Shankara's interpretation of what Bhishmacharya means by saying Me Shrunu. Listen to me. Because when we see a dictionary, Me Shrunu means listen to me. Me to me, Shrunu, listen. This is what dictionary will say. But Adi Shankara says, what Bhishmacharya is implying here is, listen to me with a focused mind, with a concentrated mind. Not only that, after listening to me with a concentrated mind, absorb these names. After absorbing the names, understand the meanings of those names. All this, he says. And for that, the Adi Shankara people will say, who told you all these things? On your own, you are giving all interpretations. Adi Shankara immediately from Vishnu Dharmottara Puranam, he quotes one sloka. So he says that in that Vishnu Dharmottara Puranam sloka, I will not read the sloka now, but I'll tell you what the sloka is saying. That sloka talks about how words can be used with reference to Param Brahma. The formless, attributeless, invisible, eternal Brahman, Param Brahman, whom we call, how can words be used to describe such an entity, such a principle? So how can a formless entity have name or names? It's a question, right? Because we are saying Vishnu, Vishnu means formless consciousness, formless consciousness. Then you are talking about 1,000 names. There is a straightaway contradiction. How can formless entities can have names? Because if there is a name, there should be a meaning. And what Adi Shankara wants to highlight through this sloka is that, in fact, there is only Advaitam. There is only one. Ishvara is only one, who is formless. And we can do Nama Vyavahara only if there are two things. Because if there is only one, there is no need to differentiate. Names are required only to differentiate one from another, isn't it? That's why we use names. In fact, in classroom and all that, there will be 2-3 people having the same name. It happens in India very often, even I think in foreign also. There will be 2 Johns or 2 Georges, or in India there will be 2 Krishnans or Krishnamurtis. Now the teacher will be confused. When taking attendance or asking one Krishnamurti, can you answer this? These are 2 Krishnamurtis will stand up. So how to differentiate? So the teacher will have to invent some stick. In fact, I'm telling you my personal experience. When I was in school, in the 8th standard, another boy joined. His name was also R. Ganapathy. My name was also R. Ganapathy. Now, this was a very big challenge for my class teacher. So whenever he is referring to our Ganapathy, which our Ganapathy he is referring to? Suppose there is a test or something, both of us will submit the test papers and we will have our Ganapathy name written there. Which our Ganapathy? So what the teacher did, our class teacher, he said that new our Ganapathy's father was, I think his name was S. Ranganathan. S. Ranganathan was his father's name. So what he said, you take the S initial from your father's name and add SR Ganapathy, make yourself SR Ganapathy. So now there are two people, one R Ganapathy, me, and SR Ganapathy, the new student. That SR Ganapathy became a very big doctor and he is there practicing in Delhi, my classmate. So when there are two people to be differentiated, names are important. If there is only one entity, only one Param Brahma, why do we require names? This can be a very logical question. Then what does these 1,000 names mean? So Adi Shankara goes a little bit into words and the purpose of these names and purpose of these meanings. In Vishnu Sahasranamam, he does a vichara on this subject matter, right? Because any thinking person will ask this question, what do these names mean? All along you are saying Advaitam, Advaitam, there is only one. Why does it that one require a name, even if it requires a name? Upanishads call it Brahman, whatever it is, consciousness, you can Sachidananda Rupa, call it Brahman. Is that not enough? The name is there. Why you are giving 1,000 names and calling it all Brahman also? So that is why Adi Shankara goes into a discussion on that. Okay. So in Dvaitam alone, names are possible because there are different entities. In Advaitam, no names are possible. That is why, our religion was called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is not the name of our religion at all. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal values. It is only when other religions came that we had to take the name of Hinduism in order to differentiate. In fact, in one of the videos, I don't know how many of you know Cho Ramaswamy. Cho Ramaswamy is a very big lawyer, journalist, everything. He has said this, he has given this, that Sanatana Dharma means what? And he explained that there was no need for any name for Sanatana Dharma, like Hinduism or anything, until such time other religions came. And so that's why we had to differentiate, we had to identify ourselves. So that is why this name, or in fact, we did not want to identify, other people wanted to identify us as a separate from others. So that's why they gave the name Hindu. There is some sort of explanation of how the Hindu name came. We did not go into that. So the names are required only when we have to differentiate one from another. So Adi Shankara is pointing out, even though Advaitam is the truth, the reality, it alone is the Paramartha Satyam. But in order to understand the truth, in order to know this truth, Bhagavan is depicted as the one who has got so many names, innumerable, countless names. Every name in this whole prapancha, cosmos, universe is Bhagavan's name only. Because everything is form of Bhagavan only. We have seen that again and again. Everything has come out of Bhagavan only. He is the creator. So any name that you take can be Bhagavan's name. But there is a difference. What is that? That name should have a meaning which highlights the glory of that Bhagavan. So otherwise, anything you can say instead of Vishnu Sahasranamam, you can go on saying anything and say, I'm doing, doing japa of Bhagavan. That's why, word and meaning, they are very, very important. I think Kalidasa, if I'm not wrong, sometimes some thoughts come, but I'm not very sure about the source. Kalidasa, in the beginning of Raghu Vamsham, he talks about this. There is a shloka. Let me remember. If I remember, I will tell you. Vagartha. Not remember. Let me remember. Maybe next class I will tell you. What it means is that word and meaning are so closely interlinked, and he compares it to Parvati Parameshwara. Like Parvati and Parameshwara are inseparable. A word and its meaning are inseparable.
Is it Vagartha Viva Sampraktau?
Vagartha Sampraktau. Yeah, Vagartha Pratipatte. Thank you.
I just.
Yeah. That is
Vagartha is Sampraktau.
Yeah, Vagartha Iva Sampraktau. Vagartha Pratipattaye. Jagatav Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwara. Thank you. Sometimes there's a blockage, it doesn't come out. Somebody prompts and it comes out. Okay. So there, Vaga Artha iti Sampruk, that Iva Sampruktav. Like Vag means the word, Artha means the meaning. Like the word and meaning cannot be separated. Similarly, I am praying to Parvati Parameshwara, who also cannot be separated. Aham Vande Parvati Parameshwara. So what actually the prayer that he offers is, Kalidasa is offering a prayer to bless him with Vaga and its Artha. Because for a poet like Kalidasa, what is his instrument of poetry? Only words. His imagination has to be converted into poetic words. That is his, tool for poetry. So what he requires, so much of vocabulary which can convert all his imaginations into words and make a Raghu Vamsham or all the, he has created all the literature, the epics. So this word and meaning are very intertwined, rather, they're inseparable. We can add forms also to it, even though Adi Shankara doesn't talk about forms, but word and meaning on one side. And when we when we use a word, we always use a word with respect to a form. So we can include form also. So all these words, forms, meanings, all these are relevant for Dvaita Prapancha, for Dvaita experience. Advaitam, there is no word, no form, nothing. In fact, Upanishads say no word can reach this Brahman. So all these things are there. And the importance of the name is, a name gives us a visualization. For example, if we say Rama, it's a name. It could be anybody's name today. There are so many Ramas. But when we say Rama, what is it that comes into our mind? We immediately remember only Lord Rama. And when we remember, when Lord Rama's image comes into our mind, we will, all his glories, all his attributes, his entire life comes into our mind. That is the importance of the name. Similarly, Krishna, when we say, the whole Bhagavata Puranam opens up before us. Right from his childhood, right from his birth. Why childhood? Right from his birth. The entire story of Krishna, all his glories, all his achievements, what all he has done, how right from his birth he has been a a sustainer of dharma in this entire universe. Which is what he says, Sarva Dharman Paritya, no, sorry, what is that? Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Dharma Samsthavanarthaya Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. Right from his birth, that is what he has started doing, right from killing Kamsa. Adharmik Kamsa, killing him, right from that, he is only establishing step by step dharma. So when we take the name Krishna, this whole thing unfolds before us. So beautiful. So that is how every name, if we understand what that name means, what that name implies, what that name indicates, then the whole glory of Ishvara will unfold before us. It will help us to discover that one more aspect of Ishvara with every name that we chant. Otherwise, we can say Abrakadabaraya Namaha, then what the laptop Namaha, rock Namaha, we can say. But what does that mean? Nothing. They are also names. So the difference between all other names and the names of Ishvara, that is exactly what Adi Shankara is trying to emphasize here. He says we must learn to experience that inexperienceable Brahman. Through what? Through these names only. Discover that Brahman through these names. You can reach Nirguna Brahman only through Saguna Brahman. Because Sagunam attributes what appeals to our intellect. Our intellect cannot visualize formless entities. That is why they say Advaita Vedanta is not an experience, it is understanding. That's why it is jnanam, it is knowledge. It is a cognitive pursuit. It is not an experiential pursuit. You can never experience Brahman. You can only understand Brahman, abide in Brahman, abide in the Swarupa of Brahman. If you want to experience Brahman, every experience in our life is an experience of Brahman, because Brahman pervades everything. It pervades all people, it pervades all objects, it pervades all experiences. So every experience is Brahman experience only. That is the only way if we want to experience Brahman. Because to say to experience Brahman itself is a misnomer. It's not a right thing. But Pujya Swamiji says, people say that you do meditation and you will experience Brahman. He says, never go to such a guru who tells you that. Because Brahman is not something to be experienced. If you have not understood in Advaita Vedanta that this entire prapancha is nothing but Brahman alone, Ishvara alone, every experience, every object, every person is nothing but Ishvara. Unless you understand that, you are very far away from Advaita, from the absolute reality of this entire universe. This is what Pujya Swamiji often says. So anybody tells you that I will give you experience of Brahman, don't go to that guru, he says, because he is going to give you some other experience. It is not the experience of Brahman, because you, for experience of Brahman, you need to go to the guru to understand what is Brahman. Once you understand what is Brahman, then you will yourself feel that everything is Brahman only. That's it. That's what his guru's job is. To make you understand that everything is Brahman. So in Advaitam, even though Shabda Pravritti is not required and also not possible rather, still in Vyavahara, in the context of the empirical reality, the reality of this world, which is experiential reality you can call, from a Jiva Ishvara Bheda Drishti, from the standpoint of seeing differences between Ishvara and Jiva. I am different, Ishvara is different. I am Alpagya, Ishvara is Sarvagya. I am Alpashaktiman, Ishvara is Sarvashaktiman. when we see these differences from that point of view, these names become relevant. For whom? For those who have still entertaining a Dvaita Buddhi. So in fact, these names are stepping stones in the spiritual path for us to go to a stage where from Saguna Brahma Rupam, Saguna Brahma Nama, we graduate to Nirguna, understanding Nirguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahma. That's it. Nothing more can be said about Nirguna Brahma, formless Brahman, consciousness, pure consciousness. And in fact, if you say, see, all these names are mithya. As we are always saying, you know, names and forms are given by us to everything that is there in the world. All this entire prapancha is mithya. Mithya means what? Does not have independent existence. They all exist dependent on Brahman, on pure consciousness. On Satchidananda Swarupa, they all exist. In fact, in Lalita Sahasranamam, there is a Nama. You know what it says? Nama Rupa Vivarjitayai Namaha. There is a Nama in Lalita Sahasranamam. What does it mean? Nama Rupa Vivarjitayai, one who does not have any Nama and any Rupa, my salutation to that. And we are doing Lalita Sahasranama Archana. So even when we see all these Vishnu Sahasranamam and Lalita Sahasranamam and all, this idea that the Parabrahman, the absolute reality of this entire cosmos does not have any form, does not have any name, is again and again emphasized. But Adi Shankara points out that every name has got a power. It's called Shaktiyartham. Because through name we are able to differentiate the qualities, different people, different qualities, different entities, we are able to differentiate. So the power of the differentiation is there in the name. When we say a lion, we know it is different from a tiger. How? Because the word lion has got a power. The word tiger has got a power. That's called Shaktiyartham. The power of that word, which we use to describe as anything. Okay. Even all this karma, karma phala, everything when we talk about, it's all in Dvaitam only. In Advaitam, there is no karma, no karma phalam, nothing. Anyhow, that's not a topic here. Okay. So, what we have to understand is all these names belong to the realm of Maya. Maya Shakti, the power of Maya. And Maya has actually produced these names for us to exhaust our karma phala. Understand what I'm saying? We have karma and karma phala from a Dvaitam perspective. We have karmas, papa punyas. Now those papa punyas has to be exhausted if we have to get liberated. Moksha. How will you exhaust this papa punya? One way of exhausting is that you actually experience all the papa punyas. But that could go on endlessly, life after life after life. That's not the best method. In fact, that's the least best method, experiencing papa punya. It will never exhaust, because if we take another life, more papa punyas will come in. What is the second best? Try to neutralize these papa punyas. Second best. Vishnu Sahasranamam comes in that second best solution. Papa bhaya apaham. When you chant Vishnu Sahasranamam the way it is prescribed, then it will remove those papas. The best method, of course, is knowledge of Advaita, knowledge of Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi knowledge is the best method, where Papa Punya, everything is finished in one shot, becoming a Jnani in this life itself. Okay. So Acharya is saying that for a name to have a pravritti, pravritti means access to something. So many things are there. We have got names even within one name. Let us say the name, there is a Ganapathy name. Ganapathy has got this guna, sattva guna, rajo guna, tamo guna. He is tamo guna pradhana, sattva guna pradhana. So within a name also, there are another aspect of attached to the name is the guna of that person. I mean, in simple words in English, they say, when we say a person, Mr. X, how do we describe him? He is tall, he is fat, he is fair, he is dark. All this way we describe him. So the name itself will actually, opens up all these kind of possibilities. So the power of the name, Adi Shankara points out, and this is all purely from a point of view of etymology, science of etymology, right? So there are 5 things he points out. A name, this to have access, there are 5 causes for that, 5 hetus. What are they? Either it should relate to a relationship. He says Shashti, because Shashti, people who are not Sanskrit students will not understand what is Shashti. Shashti is a vibhakti, but Shashti vibhakti stands for relationship. It is not a verb. Now I will not go into it, but you can just say relationship. So a name describes a relationship, first attribute. Then guna, as I told you. A name also has the power to describe a guna, an attribute. Then kriya, an action. Jati, a species. When we say animals or reptiles, we are referring to a jati, all things which are crawling on the ground, whether it could be lizard or a snake or whatever it is, who crawl, reptiles, jati. And he adds one more, rudhi. Rudhi means popular. By popular usage, certain names indicate certain things. So these 5 things should be there for a name to be meaningful, to give some meaning. Parabrahma has none of this. So how can Parabrahma have a name? Is the question that is being asked. He has no relationship, no species, nothing. Okay. Let alone 1,000 names. Even when this is so, Saguna Brahman is superimposed with gunas. Saguna Brahman, when we say it is only a superimposition of all these gunas, these glories on Parabrahman, the Nirguna Brahman. So when we understand the Saguna Brahman, we are actually understanding the glory of this entire cosmos, which is the creation of the creator of Brahman. So Vishnu Sahasranamam is the praise of the Lord with 1,000 words. And each of these words is a name. And as Pujya Swamiji says, you see, normally what will happen is in other texts and all that, there will be arguments, which of course we are using it because, other acharyas, they bring in those arguments, which will come in our mind, questions that come in our mind whenever we talk about it. But here, Adi Shankara doesn't deal with all those things. He'll just give you the meanings of the names, what are all the implications of that. Because in, like, for example, in Mundaka Upanishad, there is a mantra, Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Brahmanaha Nirvedamayat Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurumeva Bhigachet Samit Panihi Srotriyam Brahma Nishtam. Just some words I'm forgetting. Okay. But what this mantra says is that analyzing all the experience of this life, a discriminative person gets dispassion with an understanding that all these names, everything that is there, experiences, are only means, and the end are only the means for survival and not meant for achieving the ultimate end. In fact, there is no ultimate end, there is only one end rather. Ultimate end means number of ends. There's no, because we have to understand only the finite cannot lead to infiniteness. Limited things cannot lead us to limitlessness. And limitation is not something which one likes rather. Because one cannot be happy being a wanting person always. Whenever we want something, it is the seed for unhappiness. Every want, every desire contains the seed for our unhappiness. So to be free from a wanting person, one has to be the whole. W-H-O-L-E, not H-O-L-E, W-H-O-L-E, whole, right? And one cannot be a limitless whole unless one is already a limitless whole. Isn't it? You cannot add anything to any number to make it infinity. Infinity is a number in itself. You cannot take anything away from infinity. You cannot add anything to infinity. You cannot achieve infinite, that you cannot come to answer a mathematical derivation of infinity by adding all numbers that you know. You cannot. All numbers are finite. When you add them together, the result also will be finite only. It can never be infinite. So like that, if we are not infinite in our nature, we can never become infinite. Unless we are limitless by our nature, we can never talk of limitlessness. Unless we are Satchidananda Swarupa by nature, we can never ever realize that Satchidananda Swarupa, understand that Satchidananda Swarupa. So what these 1,000 names do is to show us that glory of that Ishvara through these 1,000 names, and then takes us towards the understanding that, hey, Manava, these glories which you have now understood as Ishvara's glories are your glories, my dear. Because there is no difference between you and that Ishvara. This is the ultimate teaching of Advaita Vedanta. This is what it says, Tat Tvamasi. That Ishvara is you alone, my dear. You please understand. To understand that, you require all these 1,000 names and the glories which these 1,000 names imply, indicate, and mean. So unless one knows the meaning and understands the meaning of each nama, one will not be able to actually visualize or even enjoy that glory of Ishvara, which is nothing but my own glory. But at this point in time, I don't know it. Because I am still in the Dvaita Prapancha. I am still in the Dvaita experience. I am treating Ishvara something outside me. That is the route I have to go through in my spiritual journey. So what I do, I understand the names. I enjoy these names. I enjoy the glories of Ishvara. When you understand the glories of Ishvara and then finally understand that whatever glories I was talking about, Ishvara's glories, limitless glories, is nothing but my own glory, you will understand, discover your own limitlessness. You will see that glory in every other human being, in every other thing in this universe. Because the same glory of Ishvara is reflected in every other entity. In fact, at some stage, you will stop actually giving recognition to every entity, because every entity is only one Brahman alone. So you will learn to actually go beyond the names and forms and see that Brahman, the Sachidananda Swarupa in every entity in this world, Sarvatma Bhava, you will be able to see. But for that, you have to get the PhD degree of being a Jnani. That's the last one, right? So that is why this name has got its power. Each name will give its phalam also. From a Karma Kanda perspective also, we can say every name has got a power to give you certain results. And that's why, some of the people say, to go to these astrologers and all that, they will say all these things. They will say, you chant these slokas from Vishnu Sahasranamam, then you will get a promotion in your office. Or suppose some marriage is not taking place in the family, they will say, you chant these slokas, then the marriage will happen. So they have got some powers also from a Karma Kanda perspective, but we are here on Vedanta subject matter. So the names are important. And second important aspect of the names is that they should be pronounced correctly. Because Sanskrit is a very tricky language. If we don't pronounce the names correctly, the whole meaning can change. So that is another important aspect. So we have to understand the names, understand how to pronounce them correctly. All these things are all there. And in fact, if we understand the meaning of these 1,000 names, each of these names can be used for meditation. Every name we can meditate. So this is all about the names and all. Every name is revealing Ishvara. As I said, Puja Swamiji says, each word is a window through which you look at Ishvara, understand Ishvara with awe and wonderment. These are Puja Swamiji's word. We will stop here and continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you very much, all of you. Any questions?
Thank you, Raghuji.
Thank you, Mama.
Guruji.
Thank you,
Namaste,
Mama.
Guruji.
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thanks a lot.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Acharya ji,
Hmm.
it was a wonderful session. It was a super wonderful session. Thank you very much.
But you see, all this appreciation, I will just send it to my gurus.
It was an amazing session. I don't get words to explain and to bring myself out. Thank you very much.
Sarvadeva namaskara hai keshvam prati gacchati. That is what is, we must always remember like that. So all thanks, all appreciation will all go to my gurus who are nothing but Ishvara Swarupa only, isn't it? Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So that is what we see, go on saying every day. So to that Guru, any appreciation for any teacher he gets, that teacher passes it on. He never keeps any appreciation with himself. But appreciation is welcome, because through that appreciation, I will add my own thanks to the Gurus and send it to the Guru Parampara.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Guruji,
Thank
I
you,
was
Guruji.
question if
Thank
I may
you.
ask.
Thank you
Any
so much.
question? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, any question is there?
I just have a very simple question, Guruji.
Yeah.
This is from yesterday's class as well. And the words about Brahma and Brahman. So the Brahma and Brahman, these distinction we use in the pronunciation only when we are saying it in the English language, right? Or when we are using in Sanskritam, is there in Sanskritam also do we have something like Brahman and Brahma separate words? We don't
Yeah.
have
Sanskritam we will say Brahma.
Brahma, yeah.
Brahma, which is a short A.
Yeah.
Which means Brahman.
Okay.
The formless Brahman.
Yeah.
And when we are referring to the four-headed Brahmaji, we say Brahma, the long A.
Oh, I didn't know that distinction.
That is the differentiation.
Oh, thank you.
But what we also do is, sometimes, the pronunciation itself, somebody may not hear the short A and long A. So along with the long A, we add one G also. So we call it Brahma Ji. So Brahma Ji, then no doubt will be there in hearing also. Brahma Ji means four-headed Brahma. Brahma means Brahman, Parabrahman. That is
Thank you for clarifying that.
okay. Right. If that's it, then shall we close the class? No more questions, doubts? Hari Om. Thank you very much. See you on next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Guruji.